Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I'm the one and only Maxi here, and I'm from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Pac-Man World 3 for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, PC, PSP, and the DS version, in this case the worst version of the game. So yeah, you probably get the idea if you look on the footage by yourself. So yeah, last episode is the fact that we actually did manage to tackle through probably is my least favorite world in the game due to the forms of how bland that world is, which I'm sure that most of you know what I was going to be trying to say for this point. So yeah, today for this episode in particular is the fact that we are moving on to the Spectral Realm Act 3, except now the fact that we ended up in a... well, let's just say this level might take a bit slightly longer compared to the forms of how it does it on the other two variations of those Spectral Realm kinds of levels. So in this case though, is the fact that this is the 14th world after all. So because of that though, yeah, not much else to say about this point, apart from the fact that, well, today's date is of course the 29th of July today, in this case in 2021, and I would like to mention about the forms of more topics of the forms of the Olympic Games, you know, with the Tokyo 2021 Olympic Games kind of syndrome, but I think I'll let some toy sales will mention more about it until whenever they start to do then the next new Let's Play, along with the forms of another one as well, which stay tuned for those until specifically next Monday, and especially noticeable for likely for every sort of days or something like that, despite the fact that Mighty is still going to go back onto Mario Party 5, you know, enjoying the forms of every single Saturdays and Sundays as always. So yeah, not much else to tell really, apart from the fact that since yesterday, that we actually stumbled across ourselves our next Mario Kart Tour, which this time is of course Mario vs. Peach. So yeah, once again it's going to be a team kind of event, and I don't know what team I might able to actually go for, but I might as well go for Mario team, because obviously since I keep on getting really unlucky when it comes to last time whenever I decided to manage to able to tackle through team-based battles and stuff like that, because as far as I'm aware, that whenever I did manage to, like, the last time I touched upon the forms of the team battles was actually by the forms of, well, back in the day in Mario vs. Luigi event, and I somehow choose Luigi team, and I somehow got screwed over, and as far as I'm aware, in Peach vs. Daisy team event, that I somehow got screwed over due to the forms of how the fact that I somehow accidentally choose Daisy over Peach. And also, I think the last time we did done the team battle is the forms of Team Bowser versus Team Donkey Kong. And as a result, I accidentally choose Team Donkey Kong, mainly due to the fact that maybe because I keep thinking about Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary. So because of that, unfortunately though, I keep on getting myself screwed over with the actual team choices. But hopefully this time around, for the sake of the forms of, well, I've already picked the team from yesterday. That's what appears to be I choose Team Mario, just because that's the only team I haven't choose from the likes of the first team event, which is Mario vs. Luigi kind of event. So it will be nice to be able to choose Mario this time around, or Team Mario to be more specific. So yeah, you get the idea about that. So, and also another thing as well is the fact that, usually relatively speaking, is just the fact the matter is though, is that we've already got about, I would say, 3 more days to go until specifically we're moving on to the 8th month of the forms of the August, or, well, in this case, where we've only got 3 days left until the 8th month, which is August in 2021. So it feels like we're almost nearly at the end for that particular month in mind. And also, talking of which, when it comes to Tokyo 2020 games, or to be more specifically Tokyo 2021 Olympic Games most likely, I believe we've almost at the halfway point in terms of the actual Olympics itself, until specifically likely, you know, by the time whenever we get into the 8th of August, that the actual thing is about to be finished. until whenever that's been finished, we're pretty much moving on to the next Olympics, which appears to be, well, let's say the next Winter Olympics is going to take place in Beijing, in China. So because of that, hopefully we're also able to get our best opportunity until whenever we discuss more about it, until whenever we get into likely also for next new Let's Plays, at some point until 2022 pretty much. So aside from the forms of some redo Let's Plays here and there as well, so yeah, keep that account. So, but I digress. And the next Summer Olympics is going to be Paris in 2024. So, yeah, time really does fly, doesn't it? Where it comes to days are usually over and done with. But, you know, you probably get the idea about that. So, still haven't heard where it comes to the forms of the Nintendo Switch, you know, sale records and all that stuff just yet though, until well, we'll heard more about it, until next month, until we're able to actually discuss upon the forms of the sales records for the Nintendo Switch so far, because after all, that the OLED, model is going to be on its way until specifically, like, less than 3 months time now. So, at least expecting that everyone else is going to get hyped for that model, but we still have not exactly sure if we're about to be getting that particular model, just because it plays is pretty much exactly the same, aside from 7-inch screen and also much more storage, and to top it all off, the same battery life as the 2019 counterpart of the Nintendo Switch. So, but you know, you get the idea about that. So, oh yeah, here's the main emphasis on this level, as you can see, is the fact that we need to use that particular mirror in order to actually reflect the actual red laser, so that they are able to actually don't block your pathway or something like that. At least if I'm guessing that correctly. So, yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and, oh my god, why did I just do that? I hate the referral system in this game sometimes. I really do. Especially noticeable that I somehow accidentally just managed to not get onto the forms of the referral pad and all that stuff. But thankfully, we respawned right where the checkpoint respawning point is. So, that should be alright for the most part. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and let that... Ooh, that will pretty much lead us to the forms of the continuation of that particular path. So, and of course, though, we do need to get ourselves that another mirror piece, which hopefully we'll try to find out as much as we can. So, now I do apologize for that background noise you be hearing in the background, because, well, once again, my door is actually keep on rattling all the time. And as a result, though, I really need to get my door sorted, just in case if there's any, disturbance or anything else to be more specific. But I think it's mainly due to the wind. Or maybe that today for the UK's weather forecast, it's just all over the place today. So, yeah, I must admit though right away, it's just a bit all over the place when it comes to weather conditions for the sake of later on. Especially noticeable that summer is almost over, until specifically we're moving on to the next season, which is autumn, until specifically on September all the way up to November, because obviously we've already got about, well, let's just say 3 months now until specifically this year's Halloween. So we're really hoping that the Halloween thing will be happening for the sake of the films of this year. So, but yeah, you get the idea about that. So anyways, now we've deal with the forms of some more spectral ghosts, and hopefully we'll grab the mirror item, which we've already did, and hopefully we'll place it here and try to referral onto this referral pad, and sure enough we're able to reflect that particular red laser. So yeah, of course the red laser is pretty dangerous for you, because obviously if you dare touch it, not only does it give you amount of damage, but also that you might get stuck in occasional spots. So you just have to be very careful. So yes, I already know about this game. I already know. Especially noticeable that technically we've already experienced that particular place. So what's the point of able to show me that off again? I have no idea why. But anyway, few things I want to explain is the fact that recently today, for those of you who are able to be desperately waiting for the next new updates for Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch, thankfully the updates has actually been fully utilized. Especially noticeable, it's been about, I would say since back on March, that we actually got ourselves, like, the only time we only got in March, for for the sake of the films of Animal Crossing New Horizons update, is of course the Mario's 35th anniversary items, which I'm pretty sure it's already expired right now. It's kind of a shame, honestly, just because of how the fact that with the actual limited amount of time syndrome or something like that. Oh, these little insects are back. You know how much I hate these guys, but sure enough, we have to deal with those guys again, so I'm not looking forward to it, honestly. But thankfully, this will be the final time we're going to be seeing those particular, well, bugs like this, because especially noticeable that since we've almost at the very end of the game, which I'm sure enough that we've only got 2 worlds left, which is this world along with the forms of the final world in the game, so hopefully we should be pretty much closer by then, so anyways, let's go ahead and just, you know, do the usual riffroll thing, yeah? Now, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit snuffled up at points, just because, well, I think my throat is actually getting a bit dried up. Even whenever I if I manage to drink anyway, specifically for those juices or water, sometimes though, I have to able to actually just to take some drinks until I decide to do some more commentaries again. So, yeah, I must admit though right away, so. And another thing is worth noting for is the fact that, relatively speaking, when it comes to the forms of the Pokemon the movie 23, still haven't heard what the actual final release date of the film on the English version still. That's only because that I was really desperately want to see the film so badly after the films of a lot of delays, and especially noticeable with well, it might take some time, especially noticeable with the English dubs needs to be registered. So, but either way though, it really depending on the forms of how the fact that when that particular film is going to release. So, anyway, another thing is worth noting for actually is the fact that, relatively speaking of Pokemon actually, that apparently according to some rumors out there, apparently though is the fact that Netflix might able to actually decide able to develop the live-action Pokemon series, and I get the feeling I might be skeptical about this because I'm pretty much used to with the anime of Pokemon, because I think anime with Pokemon, honestly, is actually it's more top-notch in my opinion, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, I can definitely tell with the forms of the actual expressions on the anime, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that despite the fact that the English dub doesn't match up to the English, the Japanese lip movements, which I totally get that for the sake of Japanese anime series, which is especially true whenever I watch the Sword Art Online, and as well as the forms of specifically Darling in the Franxx, but that's besides the point. And oh snap, we got ourselves some even more spectral ghosts. Although, don't worry though, whenever we get to the final world of the game, that will be the definition of the final time we'll deal with the combat system in this game. So because of that, because I'll talk more about that whenever we get into my final thoughts of Pac-Man World 3, until specifically whenever we finish up with the final world in the game, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, you probably get this suggestion. So, anyway, so let's just go ahead and grab some more pack dots in case of... Oh, wait a second, I just realized that we've reached for about 1 million points total. So that way we can definitely guarantee that we can able to actually get ourselves our high scores as soon as we finish the game. So, either way though, chances are that's, yeah, we're actually getting, you know, pretty much closer towards the end, basically. So, anyways, before we continue, just need to double check if there are some other segments I need to be sure to double check. So, but either way though, that, yeah, as far as I can say about it. Oh yeah, and another thing is worth noting for this point too, is the fact that I managed to, for whatever reason, am able to watch that pretty cheesy film called Disney's The Descendants, the first one. And it's okay. I mean, it's nothing amazing to me though. I mean, nothing really stick up to me. Especially noticeable that it feels kind of like a cheesy kind of like kids film or something like that. Although the actual films manage to center around the children from the likes of those Disney villains. Which, yeah, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. Have you guys seen The Descendants? Because I found it alright. but it's not my cup of tea or anything else like this, unlike My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in my opinion, but that's probably just me anyway, and plus we are still looking forward to able to actually just to be optimistic to able to actually just to see My Little Pony The New Generation, or a new generation I should say, until that film actually comes out on the Netflix. So yeah, it's kind of weird that that particular film is going to skip over the cinema screen time, which unlike in other films by this rate, that No Time to Die is still going to be on the cinema screen, and also Disney's Jungle Cruise is also going to be only on cinemas by that time, and especially noticeable with the films of Spirit Untamed, which apparently is actually based off from that DreamWorks animated series, which I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it, and especially noticeable I still haven't get a chance to see Spirit, the film, from the likes of the DreamWorks movie, which, by that time, until next year, that particular film will become 2 decades old, along with the films of, you know, Lilo and Stitch, and also say applies to the films of, well, Treasure Planet, despite the fact that Treasure Planet did manage to able to get a massive bombed box office, which, I've heard of it, and I've actually seen bits of it though, but it's not my interest, I have to be honest here. Although, visually it's amazing, but it's just the fact that it's not usually my kind of thing, unlike in, well, let's just say superior ones. Like, for instance, Lilo and Stitch is actually one of the greatest post-Renaissance era when it comes to Disney films, along with The Princess and the Frog, and also The Emperor's New Groove. So, at least I can able to enjoy those 3 films, basically, to me, though. And don't even get me started on the films of, well, Brother Bear is okay, aside from the films of, well, with the films of that Phil Collins songs. Although, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Phil Collins songs, especially noticeable for Tarzan's sake, especially noticeable that is because of my childhood memories. But, yeah, and other films like Home on the Range is a piece of trash, and also Chicken Little, also a piece of trash. So, yeah, that pretty much summarizes such. But anyway, so, and also The Wild is actually mediocre, especially noticeable. It's almost like a knockoff of DreamWorks Madagascar, because generally that Madagascar came out first before The Wild. So, yeah, the reason why I pointed out is because of some similarities, but with different, like, animal types. Although we technically got the lion and the giraffe kind of character that's kind of similar, but the only one's exception being the koala, and especially noticeable with the squirrel, and even the forms of the snake, I'm pretty sure. So, but it's been donkey's years since I actually last seen The Wild, since when the film initially came out in 2006, and I don't enjoy it that much, just because, well, it's a very standard, like, rescuing the sun and all that stuff, though. Even then, though, it's not my cup of tea, but at least Meet the Robinsons is okay, at least to me anyway, though, but nothing spectacular either, at least in my opinion, so. Anyway, so enough about the actual film releases for now on, and especially noticeable with the actual cinema rates, but anyway, wait a second, is that path seems to be a little bit familiar to you? Oh yes, this path is kind of similar to the 3rd level when we actually made it towards the end of the 3rd level, except now they expanded upon more. So in this case, where we can now able to actually do some more stuff here and there. So, in this case though, we can able to actually deal with what else? A bit of platforming involved, especially noticeable with these disappearing platforms every time you step on them, and basically those platforms will attempt to disappear, so. Yeah, let's just go ahead and just go for those little 3 rings and all that stuff, and, well, suffice to say that, hopefully, once we, deal with all that, and then basically we can now able to actually, access to the blue crystal, so. Yeah, talking of crystals though, actually, it's the fact that this will be the last time we're going to be seeing those crystal collectibles, just because whenever we move on to the final level in the game, that, sure, it's not too far, I don't think, but, again, we'll just see what happens there. So, anyway, And another thing is worth noting for is the fact that I was expecting if I was trying to able to get myself the GameCube version of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, at least in the PAL version anyway. But unfortunately though, that version is pretty expensive, unlike the PlayStation 2 copy, which I still already got, as well as the forms of the Xbox version, which I used to have it, but of course it's been scratched up, and plus it won't read on my original Xbox console, which is kind of sucks, honestly, because I used to play the original OG Xbox games on the actual OG Xbox, rather than having, like, backwards compatibility and stuff like that for the Xbox 360, because there are a few games managed able to have some lacking features, like the lack of widescreen support, like, for instance, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is one example. And because of that, though, I don't think that game actually has, like, widescreen, unlike the fourth game does manage to have it, so... Speaking of the forms of Tony Hawk, though, did I seriously mess this up? Ah, terrific. But anyway, speaking of Tony Hawk, though, actually, I've managed to solve him on the actual, after the skateboard event is actually finished. In some skateboard sessions from the likes of the Tokyo Olympics, and when I saw him, and I was like, okay, that was actually kind of cool, able to actually feature Tony Hawk on the actual skateboarding event. Even though he didn't participate in it, he was there for the sake of the cameo appearance. So yeah, that seems pretty awesome. So, despite the fact that I somehow managed to able to give up playing the series, well, at least I can still try to able to give it another shot, until whenever I get myself a digital version of the remasters of both the first game and the second game, basically. So hopefully I would try that on my PlayStation 4 digital downloads, assuming if we need to focus on other PlayStation 4 stuff I was about to be trying to go ahead and buy, such as, of course, Sonic Colors Ultimate, and also Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, and especially noticeable with the upcoming Sonic game from the likes of Sonic Rangers and all that. So, yeah, you probably get the idea about that specific worth noting for the sake of time, so... Anyway, so... And also, I was meant to be able to actually just to realize that, usually, relatively speaking, for that Battle for Bikini Bottom game, the original game, that I was expecting to get the Xbox version as well, because I was expecting that I really do enjoy the game on the PlayStation 2, if you guys want to check it out for a Let's Play. But I don't know if I might as well do it, though, just because it plays out exactly the same, aside from the fact that the Xbox version runs a lot smoother, especially it runs at 60 frames per second at all times. At least what I've seen, the actual, like, the frame rate cap. Although, mind you, that the GameCube version does manage to drop a bit, just because it was on a smaller disk database, or something like that. But then again, it has been a while since I actually did manage to play SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, excluding the rehydrated version as well, so just because of the fact that recently I'm busy playing other titles as well, so... Like, for instance, that, you know, I'm still going to be playing this for at the time, and then once we finish this, though, then we can pretty much move on to the next set of Let's Plays, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and do some wall jumps here for those little hexagon... Oh, seriously! God, I hate when that happens right there. Especially noticeable that my wall jumps doesn't seem to work with me half the time. Especially noticeable because of I wasn't paying that much attention, though, I must admit, though, right away, so... And unfortunately, though, I'm gonna have to restart for that particular spot again, so, and, yeah, I do apologize for that background noise. It's actually getting pretty irritating for that stupid little rattling door. I think I'm blaming on the wind for that weather forecast, though, actually, because, well, relatively speaking, it's just that my door is a bit unstable at the moment, but... At least we're still trying to fix it, though. Oh, jeez, it's bad enough those purple switches has to be reset, so... That's not good. That's not good at all. Especially because, well, I get into the forms of the progression so far, but sometimes I keep on messing things up for a little bit, so... Anyways, let's jump from platform to platform, and I'm presuming that since we got ourselves the green crystal, I don't know what's in that particular door over there, which I somehow managed to skip, but I'm pretty sure with that particular chain of pack dots, as you notice, I'm pretty sure it'll give me some progression. So, at least specifically, if I was gonna grab some more, you know, pack darts, and, is this gonna take me all the way up? Yeah, I think that this is gonna take me up, I'm presuming so, yeah, nothing major about it, but, And also another thing as well, that, actually, to be honest with you, there's not much else you can talk about, because obviously, I will mention, mention some brief moments for the sake of the forms of likely for other stuff worth mentioning. But, I mean, let's be honest here, there's not much else to speak of. Well, apart from the fact that, well, we still continue our progressioning for the sake of the, this level in general. So I think that we've almost done with this world, basically. So, anyways, let's see what we got. Here's the forms of the huge battle arena to deal with right there. So, hopefully we should be able to, let's grab the card, so just in case we can able to, you know, collect certain things and all that stuff. So, hopefully that should be, more specific than that. And here's that blinky spot right there. In fact, gotta think about it, is there... Oh, shoot. Okay. At least I respawned there, so that's alright. So, at least thankfully that's, oh, okay, so there's an apple that I somehow missed. So, that's why I was double checking it anyway. But thankfully we can able to grab our extra life back again. So, yeah, we've already seen these, so, yeah. And I think this might actually be the final time we're going to be playing as Blinky in this game, or technically Clyde in this game, which I'm still going to call it Blinky anyway, just because of the actual red familiar ghost color. So because of that, yeah, let's go deal with the forms of the spectral ghosts right here. So hopefully we can able to actually deal with them by simply able to be using Blinky's scream effect, and hopefully they'll deal pretty much every single like spectral ghost by this point. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually just try to able to describe about this world. It's an alright world. I mean, it's like the expansion to the first world, oh no, the third world rather, and the fifth world in the game. So yeah, it's pretty much like a combination of the two, except this level is going to be a little bit more longer than the other two Spectral Realm kind of levels like this. So, although, I will put the actual name of the level like this in the link in the description, so you guys can clearly tell what the world itself is actually called. But, yeah, I must admit though, because I don't exactly know that much of any other world's names. Well, some worlds I might know, but as far as the rest of the worlds are concerned, I don't remember that much of it though. So, because of that, yeah, I have to be honest here for that point. So anyways, let's go ahead and deal with some more, you know, spectral ghosts. And because of how the fact that, wow, sometimes I keep on getting myself hit by the forms of those stupid explosion, you know, these coney-like, explosion circular stuff like this. But, hopefully it won't give me that much trouble, I don't think. But, it's just the fact that sometimes that, well, I have no words to think about it, so... Alright, so we're almost done here, so it's just there's going to be some more spectral ghosts shows up for depending on what portals they appeared on, and I somehow let Blinky die right there, but thankfully we can able to let him come back to life, and of course you don't need to worry about yourself, so because of that, yeah, you probably get the idea about that. And I'm gonna have to admit though right away, I think I actually enjoyed this a bit more than he forms of how it does on that terrible Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric game, just because of how the fact that, well, I can at very least able to give this game some credit for, where it comes to able to actually have something like, different, where it comes to Pac-Man World Trilogy of games, aside you still got your familiar platforming skills and what have you, but as far as music is concerned, it's nothing particularly that special to me though. But again, I'll get to my final thoughts of this game until tomorrow on Friday, so... yeah, just to get that game finished before we move on to, you know, the next couple of Let's Plays in mind. So, as I said this before, loads of times already, but let's not mention about that ever again, just because, well, you probably get the idea about that. I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this as well, that Mighty has totally forgot to mention about the forms of what gifts that basically what Cap King 74 managed to able to receive some of his birthday presents during the course of his, well, ever since about almost a week ago. that recently Capcom74 has managed able to got himself 2 new Nintendo Switch games, which are both released in 2021. So first of all, he's managed to got himself The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, and also Miitopia, just because of some of these creative Mii creations for the sake of the films of the Switch port. So, how the heck did I just got hit right there? Oh, wait a minute, it's probably one of the waterfalls that has managed to hurt me. Once again, it's so hard to judge distance. It really is. It's the worst part about this game. I will have to admit that right away. It's the absolute worst part about this game is the lack of judge of distance. Just how far it is to tell how far you need to jump through. And as a result though, that'll be my only major gripe I have with this game. It's just the fact the matter is though, it's just... well, it's kind of hard to judge your distance sometimes for certain platforming and what have you, but... anyway, so let's go ahead and deal with this last part of this level. So I think this is the last part of the level, even though I'm only missing 2 watermelons and 1 25th anniversary Pac-Man statue. So thankfully you can able to check your status by simply pressing the right analog stick, in this case R3 to be more precise, because I keep on thinking of playing, you know, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 back in the day in 2008 or something, before I managed able to receive myself the Wii version just because of online play and stuff like that. But unfortunately you can't play online anymore just because of, well, Nintendo's Wi-Fi connection and service has been, you know, no longer present. So anyways, let's just go ahead and grab the, well, the mirror piece, and, fundamentally speaking, I'm presuming so anyway, we pretty much deal with every single of those, or we pretty much done with the forms of those spectral ghosts by that time. So because of that though, that's, yeah, everything else goes all fine and dandy and everything. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and, try to riff-roll that particular pad here, so just in case we can able to, well, try and make the actual mirror elevated upwards, so that way it will reflect the actual lasers to able to open up. Oh, wait a second, we still have not done yet, because obviously we need to deal with that next. So, and hopefully, whenever we keep on doing that, then the mirror should able to reflect the actual laser and open up this particular open hatch. And I think this is the temple itself, or in this case, to be more specifically, the Shadow Temple. And I'm not kidding, this is what the final world is about to be, well, awaits. So, yeah, this is pretty much the final world we're going to be entering into, until tomorrow, as I said. So, in this case though, yeah, we're pretty much done with this particular level. And of course I've got 3rd place, but that's alright, because it was actually a decent run. Well, aside from the forms of the hard to judge distances for those specific jumps sometimes. Which I've already gone on about it ever since in the 10th part. So, anyways, let's save our game here. And, yeah, we'll pretty much gonna end off from there. But, first things first though, let's watch this, a kind of a cool cutscene, or technically a funny cutscene, just because of, well, you'll see and find out.
Great. Yep. Excellent start. Thank you.
Sorry, Pac-Man. A slight issue with the teleporter. A glitch in the Iwatani coil. Let's try again.
I'm gonna need a bigger power pellet. Time's up, Irwin. I'm coming for you.
Then hurry along, irritant. It's about time I shut that big mouth of yours once and for all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that part at the beginning of that scene, it makes me chuckle a bit. So anyways, we'll pretty much get endings off here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Pac-Man World 3. It's gonna be the finale, because here we go onto the final world in the game, Shadow Temple. So again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, fellas.